Sad news in the video game world today. Rick May, video game voice actor, best known as the voice of Peppy Hare from Star Fox 64 and the soldier from Team Fortress 2, passed away April 8th, just a couple of days ago at age 79, due to the recent cannot be spoken of big V going on in the world. And it's really sad because a lot of people who were gamers in the 90s loved Star Fox 64 and Team Fortress 2, and Peppy Hare was a big part of that. He was also the voice of Andros also. But I figured I'd use this opportunity because how is this really related to Transformers? And I figured I'd use this opportunity to kind of talk about a famous line that Rick May said using Peppy Hare as his character that would go on to inspire not only a big meme, but a Transformer product. And this is the time that a internet meme influenced and created a Transformer product. So bear with me and I will give you this little story. Now, of course, Rick May, the voice of Peppy Hare in Star Fox 64, had a famous line where he says, "Do a barrel roll." And this famous line in Star Fox 64 would go on to birth a million memes all over the internet. And that was that pretty much. It was the early days of memes on the internet before they were even called memes. And around late 2006, early 2007, Hasbro was running on the Transformer.com website a competition called Make Prime Speak. And what that was exactly was people could submit lines and they will be voted upon. And the top 30 lines will then enter like a final judgment round, and the top 10 lines will then be spoken by by Peter Cullen, aka Optimus Prime, and the number one line will be used in the movie. So thousands and thousands of lines were submitted by fans, stuff like, obviously Autobot transform and roll out, but even some interesting ones like Megatron, when I'm done with you, you'll be lucky if you could transform into a handgun. I know that one actually made it to the top 10. Alpha Trion said there'd be days like these. There was just so many lines were submitted. And I remember that when the top 10 lines were finally broken down to, you could visit Transformers.com and there was these little flash buttons you could push and you could hear Peter Cullen reading the lines. One of those lines that made it to the top 10 was "Do a barrel roll" from, of course, the internet meme and Peppy Hare and, of course, Rick May. And essentially that final 10 would then go down to a voting by the fans. And lo and behold, the internet, being the internet, showed up in droves and led to not only Do a Barrel Roll making it to the finals, but winning the entire thing. Hasbro obviously wasn't really keen on using that in the movie for Optimus Prime to say it, considering even logically it doesn't make sense because, there's no Autobots in the 2007 movie that had flight. So why would he say "do a barrel roll" to anyone? It's not like, he'd say it to Starscream. So ultimately in the end, they were like, you know what? We're going to go with the second place winner, which was "Freedom is the right of all sentient beings." An Optimus Prime classic and a tech spec quote. So they went with that. But they still kind of wanted to honor the "do a barrel roll" thing. And this information that we have here comes from BotCon 2008. A little bit of a year after the 2007 movie came out, there was the Hasbro panel at 2 o'clock on Saturday. And on the Hasbro toy panel, there was Aaron Archer, there was Steve Bono, there was Joe Kide, I believe Forrest Lee was there too. There was a whole bunch of guys, but two individuals kind of have something to do with the story. So one of the fans, because there's a Q&A session, one of the fans asked, what is the story behind the name of the Do a Barrel Roll Starscream toy? Now, for people who don't know, in the 2007 movie, they did a bunch of role-play toys. And two of these role-play toys were toys that you kind of held the alt mode of a Transformer, and then you pulled a lever back, and the alt mode would engulf your arm or hand, and it would kind of make like a gun shooting Nerf darts, and Nerf, which is also owned by Hasbro. And so they did I think it was called Rollout Optimus Prime, which it was Optimus Prime's alt mode. You pulled it back, it became Optimus Prime's arm around your arm, and it shot from like an ion blaster foam darts. But there also was Barrel Roll Starscream, which same story. It's the jet mode Starscream. You pull it back, it engulfs your arm, and you have this double blaster that shoots Nerf darts. So they asked this question, where did the name come from? Jarrett Wade, who was one of the design directors for Hasbro, was like, I don't remember where the name came from exactly, but it probably had to do with something with Starscream, doing a barrel roll. Todd Patrick, who is one of the package designers for Hasbro, actually then kind of cut off Jared and said, actually, I kind of know a little bit of the story behind that. And Todd said, while he had nothing to do with the packaging for that specific product, because at the time he was working in the early inception of animated, he did work with the person who did work on that package in the end. He didn't drop any names, but he said that individual actually pulled that name from the Make Prime Speak competition, and that's where Barrel Roll Starscream got its name from that thing. So in a crazy world, we have a Transformer product that was named after an internet meme that came from a N64 video game in Star Fox 64, voiced by the recently passed away Rick May. So it's a crazy world that we live in today. And of course, this wouldn't be the last time that I guess internet meme kind of stuff was used in Transformers. A couple of years later, I remember at a Hasbro panel, they mentioned that there's a legend scale Revenge of the Fallen toy called Blue Steel Sideswipe. And the name for that is because there's a movie called Zoolander, for people who know the movie Zoolander. It's the many faces of Zoolander. And so you have Le Tigre, you have Magnum, and you have Blue Steel. And that's literally what the name was for. So that's another weird one. I'll throw that one in there. And they said that they wanted to even make a joke where... Again, this is totally for people who saw the Zoolander movie. They wanted to do a box set where they had only Blue Steel Sideswipes in it, like 5 of them, and they all have different names, because the joke in Zoolander is he has all these different faces, but it's all really just the same face. They just have different names. So it's a silly in-joke reference for people who really enjoy that cult classic movie. So clearly the guys at Hasbro that were behind the naming of stuff were sometimes having some fun. So yeah, that's that. That's the little history lesson in relation to what's going on with Barrel Roll Starscream. But yeah, again, it's a sad story ultimately in the end of the passing of Rick May here, and he will be remembered because Star Fox is an amazing franchise. It's a personal favorite of mine, even though Nintendo really doesn't do much with it today, and he will always be that legendary dual barrel roll line.